On YouTube. This is Teal Town after dark. It's still bright outside.
After dinner. Maybe it's not even after dinner. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how time zones work. This is why I'm a Sharks fan.
And with that, good late afternoon, evening, everyone. It is February 15th, 2020. And the Sharks are on a roll on the road. Four straight wins on the road. 2 in a row on this road trip. They're coming back to San Jose for that crazy long one-game road trip before they go back out east. And they get it with a shutout from... Wait, let me see this here. Martin Jones? Oh my goodness.
Jones.
My goodness. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark, or as Ian's saying, after dinner. For him, this is your live and interactive Sharks post-game. We do this after every single game on our YouTube channel, so chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the YouTube chat, on the page or the app, and of course follow us on the social, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, and of course Discord. For more Sharks content, visit us at tealtownusa.com. Joining me tonight, I'm Kai14. He is Mr. Eater Reid.
It's true.
It's true. Yes. Randall, good to see you. Planet downtown Santa Clara, meet at Peggy Sue's. Yeah, we're celebrating early tonight, folks. And of course, fanatical Teal leader. We're gonna get to that, but Karlsson out in Sharks shutout. Coincidence? Ian, I thought I saw a Karlsson out there tonight. Just saying.
Okay, we'll get there.
We'll get there. The Sharks, we'll go into a little bit further later on tonight, or later afternoon. I don't know. Pick one. We'll go tonight, since it'll be tonight by the end of the night.
It's tonight for me, so I'm going tonight. I'm going to say tonight a lot, and you guys are just going to have to deal with it, because it is tonight here.
Yes. It's currently, 7:52 as we record this over where he's
Correct.
at. Yes. But we'll go over the... everything elaborately a little bit more, but Evander Kane out for 3 games. Erik Karlsson done for the season with a broken thumb. You gotta think that something, really bad is happening here. Almost as bad as my face, as Roddy Bush would probably mention. Still recovering from that pool filter injury, so bear with us, folks. But hey, let's break this thing down, because there's so much to break down, folks. We had 3 puck over glass penalties.
Yep.
Ferraro took one less than 2 minutes in, and hey, I'll take a penalty 2 minutes in rather than a goal 2 minutes into the game. After all, it is Martin Jones we had in the net tonight. And then of course you have the Sharks getting a 5-on-3, Fiala going for slashing Nason. You also had Susi do a puck over glass penalty of all things. What did you see on the 5-on-3? That just looked lackluster.
I saw a very depleted Sharks team. Look, I mean, when you have so many guys that are out right now, right? Obviously you have guys that would be eating up time on that thing. Evander Kane's not playing; he's suspended. And you take into the other consideration of the other injuries that are happening, and you got guys out there that aren't. This isn't a top flight power play for the NHL, and it looked like it. It looked disjointed. Yeah. You could tell that. You played Brent Burns 4 minutes and 5 seconds or some ridiculous nonsense like that on that shift. Look, say what you want about Erik Karlsson, but they sure as hell missed him out there on that power play, because they weren't really moving the puck very well, and you could tell they were, there was passes that were going to where Erik Karlsson would normally be, and they're not getting completed. So It didn't really surprise me.
Yeah. And you go through everything that the Sharks have gone through this season. You have no Couture right now. Supposedly he's already starting to skate and might be back. I don't know why, but
Yeah, but no rush. I mean,
yeah, no need to rush him. Uh, Hurdle's out for this season. Karlsson's out for the season. I mean, realistically, if I remember correctly, Ian, the guys who scored on the 5 minute power play against Vegas, I know. Hey, remember good times. Um, mo-
oh my god.
most of the guys that are on that power play are not playing
Sure.
this game. So a frustrating one for that one indeed. You get
And
Foligno makes.
offense was disjointed on both sides. Like this game was a snoozer. Like you could, you look. I think Martin Jones made, almost 40 saves for his shutout. But like it was such a snoozer game. And I'm not trying to I don't I'm not trying to take anything away from Martin Jones though, because I thought
No.
Martin Jones played a good game. I thought he showed some definite positive signs in his positioning and stuff of that nature. So this isn't me trying to take a run at Martin Jones, and please don't make it out to be that. But this was a really boring game. So if you think about almost 40 shots on Martin Jones, and you're still saying it was a boring game, like the quality of shot wasn't great. Like it was a really boring game. Like if you can dispute that this game boring, like then great.
If you're able to pull that off, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like in that, like don't take that as a run of Martin Jones. It's just calling it the way I see it.
yeah. No, completely agree on that one. I mean, let's be honest. I was able to put all the graphics together during the game and such. So, from Shang Peng, our good friend of the show, Melker Karlsson hasn't played this much in 3 years. He played 17:42 tonight, uh, the most since he did over 18 when January of 2017. It's like
Boosting
blank.
that trade value.
Yes, precisely. Especially when he scored that empty net goal. Spoiler alert. Sorry, folks. There was only one thing that happened in the second period, and that was Lebanc using an illegal stick. Refresh me on this.
Again,
I guess.
lost in the I you know what, it was funny because I didn't really notice what the penalty was for, and I didn't really think much of the penalty, and then they
Right.
explained it, and I'm like, I really kind of want to go back and look, but I don't want to watch the game in real time. I sure as hell don't want to go back and watch any of it. Like I don't want to go back and then have to catch up. Like it was such a weird, yeah, it was a weird call, but it was like this it's just another indictment on this game, right? Whereas like I should go back and probably try and figure out like what they're talking about, but I'll just take their explanation and nod and smile accordingly. And you know what? Great.
I think it was like one or two timeouts afterwards. Randy and Hetty got the clip. Apparently, Lebanc had his stick, out of his hands. Timo used his stick to flip it back to him to play, and that is considered playing with an illegal stick.
Oh, there you go. There you have it.
But I've never seen that played before
I
like that.
never, yeah, it was a weird thing, and it was weird. I will give it, it was weird. But it was one of those things where I'm just like, okay, I accept your explanation, and I don't need to research it further.
Yeah, it's just one of those crazy ones, for
Mhm.
sure. And then it finally breaks open at 3:08. Dylan Gambrell scores his third goal this season off a deflected from his chest from Burns and Suomela. That turns out to be your game-winning goal, folks.
It's funny because
What?
like, yeah, right, like it was just like it was this game, like that goal was this game in a nutshell, right? You have like the most unexciting goal for the most unexciting game. Like it was just a kind of just a fluky bounce. And hey, great, good for Gambrell. He gets credit for a goal. Third on the season, but it was this game in a nutshell, wasn't it? Just the most unexciting play leads to the most unexciting goal in the most unexciting game.
Seriously, it's one of those ones where, you know,
Burns takes a shot. It deflects off of Gambrell's chest. It's like, okay, okay. If that's how we're gonna do it,
I
then
mean, good.
that's
Like
how we're
when
gonna do
like
it, right?
right, and when the Sharks do good, it's good. So I'm not complaining. I mean, hey, a win's a win. 2 points is 2 points. I thought as the game progressed, Martin Jones did have to make some more difficult saves for sure. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk that back a little bit because I said I didn't really have to do. It was a boring game, but I mean at the end there was a little bit of push by the Wild, but like as a Sharks fan, you can't really complain about this game. You don't really have much to complain about. Like your team's heavily depleted in the player department. If you're a Wild fan though, like if I'm a Wild fan though, I am livid right now. If this was Wild After Dark, I think swearing angry Ian would be out in full force for this one.
Oh man, it's one of those things because it's. I mean, my goodness, they put up 39 shots, so you take that.
Mm-hmm.
You have the face-off win barely 52-48, but you know, uh, it's one of those ones for Minnesota and your debut of your new coach. Here's the thing, Ian. You talk
Mm-hmm.
about how there's so many ties to the Sharks organization and in Minnesota. I mean, we talk about Shepard, Havlat, Heatley, all that fun stuff. Okay,
When Paul Fenton and Doug Wilson got locked in an elevator.
yeah. So Paul Fenton was fired.
Was it Paul Fenton? I can't remember.
Paul
I'm,
Fenton
I'm
was fired. Former original Shark Paul Fenton, replaced by Bill Guerin, former Shark, who fires Bruce Boudreau and names former original Shark Dean
yeah,
Evison head
Nevison
coach.
as the head coach. A lot of interims this year. Like a
Yeah,
lot of interns this year, like a lot of guys with an intern title this year. I think I tweeted out something earlier was like Jared Bednar is now like the sixth most tenured coach in the NHL, and he hasn't been coaching even for 48 months yet. Like, jeez Louise.
seriously. I mean, that's that. I mean, what do we say that Travis Green is what, like, the longest tenured coach in the Pacific Division now?
He might be, yeah.
I
I
mean,
wouldn't be surprised by that.
my goodness. And so Martin Jones gets his first shutout of the season. It's the
Yep.
first shutout since he
Shut out the Wild,
yeah,
apparently.
on March 11th of 2019. It's his fourth shutout against Minnesota. They win this 2-0. Oh yes, Melker Karlsson scored the empty net goal because
Sure.
let's be honest, Barclay Goodrow was being nice.
I'm gonna start some controversy because like this game was really boring, so we need some controversy. So the controversy that I'm gonna start
Lay
is
it on me, Ian.
Barclay Goodrow does not like Melker Karlsson. He wants him out of town so bad he selfishly gave up that puck so that they could score that goal and he could get traded the hell out of here. That's right. That is the controversy I am starting. This is our new segment, Ian's most ridiculous take possible, and that's it.
Oh my goodness, we're getting some comments from the dressing room. Bugner, we gave up a lot of shots, but Jones made the saves he needed. We played hard down low. Okay, heck of a last couple of days. That's an understatement, Boog.
Understatement for sure.
Oh my goodness. You know, like, my goodness. Let's not act like Minnesota is a quality team. James Abel.
I don't. Listen. If you follow my Twitter feed or listen to me on this podcast at all, whenever the Minnesota Wild come up, you guys know that I have zero love for the Minnesota Wild. I think they're the most like. I know we all laughed when Eugene Melnick's like, well, we're a team or whatever, their GM or whatever it was.
Pierre Dorian. Yep.
Peter Dorian. Yeah. No, the Minnesota Wild are a team. They're the most just a team in the NHL. They're the most boring, vanilla, like bunch of guys. Period in the NHL.
What is it? And they let Zucker go to Pittsburgh. Wasn't Galchenyuk part of that trade? Did he even? I didn't even see him play. I'm looking in the stat sheet and see if he was even in it.
I apparently
Yeah,
he might have played.
He played 13-22. Hey, 86% of the faceoff circle, but didn't see him at all. And my goodness, you know, uh, fanatical Teal breather. Shutout with no rest with our best guys out. Bad loss for Minnesota.
Yeah, again, if this was a Wild podcast, this would be a lot less lively and a lot more swearing, angry, YouTube threatening to demonetize us because I'm swearing too much podcast.
Teal bleeder saying Wild fans should get their money back. Yeah, seriously,
Not good.
it's not good at all, and it's one of those ones that you take and you get, and Martin Jones, first game in 17 days. Kudos to you for a heck of a job. Bugner continuing the true line. They did their job, chipped in with the goal. With our skill out, guys like that have to step up.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, it was the most on brand goal for that game, but I mean, they don't ask you how, they ask you how many. So at the end of the day, it's a Sharks win, and I'm not gonna, it was the most anticlimactic goal humanly possible, I think, and it was very on brand for the game, but it counts, and that's what matters. At the end of the day, Sharks 2, Minnesota Wild nothing, 2 points, maybe, 2 points is 2 points. It doesn't really matter at this point anymore, but whatever. I mean, we have 20 something games left. I mean, if we can enjoy a few wins along the way, we got to do it, because that's what you got now. I mean, that is the life that we live right now. So I'm going to take the win. I'm going to enjoy it as much as maybe I didn't enjoy the game. And
yeah, no, you take the wins. I mean, if this was a playoff, if the Sharks were in a playoff race right now, which I guess technically they are, you take any way you get it. And if it means that you're deflecting pucks off your chest and in, then there you go. Minnesota, while 3 points out entering today of the playoff race, James Abel telling us Minnie has one more point than Buffalo. That says all you need to know.
Yeah, I think the Wild, I don't agree with their coaching change. Like, I thought firing Boudreau was a mistake. I think that the ownership's, based on what the team that they ice, I feel like ownership management, and I think I said this yesterday too, their expectations are out of sync with what this team actually is.
Yeah, completely agree. Jay Clark saying got to make that draft lottery not sting as much as possible.
See, and I don't even care. I don't because I've had this argument on Twitter too, right? Like it's a sunk cost. That pick is gone, regardless of where the Sharks finished. It's gone. So I've heard the argument oh well, you just want to win as many games and make that pick as bad for Otto as possible. No, man, I don't care. I say you get what you can get, the best assets available for the players that you have. Because let's be honest, yeah, okay, it's gonna suck if Ottawa picks 1 or 2 and whatever. And don't be wrong, yes, that's gonna suck, but reality now, this is a team we play twice a year, and we won't see them in the playoffs unless it's the Stanley Cup final. So who cares if they get if they get a stud player? You got to do what's best for your team going forward.
Right.
You can't base your decisions on, if we could just finish 15th, then, or not 15th, obviously being the playoffs, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
If I finish 20th, then it's not a good pick for Ottawa. Ha ha ha. But we kept Brandon Dillon and didn't trade him when we should have. That's dumb.
No, you have to do what you have to do. You have to be realistic. That being said, they're 26, 28, and 4 now. They've won 2 straight. They've won their last 4 on the road.
Yeah.
Something tells you that you're like, oh man, why do you have that sneaking suspicion that that DW might do what he did in 2013? He trades 2 of his big assets. He gets picks back, but they still go on a run.
Well, anything's possible, right? But
right.
I don't think you're not in a. Here's the difference. When the last time they missed the playoffs, they entered the offseason. Niemi came off the books. Niemi was a huge problem. They had a ton of cap space. These are not. These two situations are not the same. And I don't want to be a downer to people, because I know everyone's like, oh, you suck the life out of everybody. But here's the reality. You have Martin Jones under contract for $1 billion more years. You have a lot of big contracts. The cap isn't going to go enough to significantly alleviate that next year. You don't have the money to go out and sign a Joel Ward and a Paul Martin and like that's reality.
And that's what's going to be interesting about the upcoming offseason is how this um, how this roster is going to take shape. I mean, you
Sure.
obviously are seeing what you have in the Barracuda right now,
And
and
some of those guys are going to get better. Like, another thing that I talked about, I don't want to get like too far down the rabbit hole here, but another thing, we were talking about this in, I think it was Discord, and people were saying like, oh, well, Chekovich and Chmelevski, they didn't pan out like we had hoped they did, but
right.
they're first year pros, so that's fine. The problem is the second and third year guys on the Barracuda that aren't sticking in spots. That's where your concern should be. It's not with the Chekoviches and the Chmelevskis. Those guys are first year pros. They didn't make the NHL this year. That's fine. Hopefully they improve next year. And that's what you need from them, is obviously you need them to improve exponentially year over year, but your gripe shouldn't be with them. It's the guys that have been there for 2 years, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Maxim Latunovs. It's the Hal Bigwalks. It's the other guys that haven't come up and, have been able to stick. And that's where your problems really lie.
And that's, it's going to be, again, it's going to be an interesting offseason as to what you have. I would love to see Helga Box get called up. Just to see.
It's the second and third year guys that you should be upset about. Not that's all I'm saying.
Right.
And I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole because we've got suspensions and injuries to discuss still.
Well, let's get to the injury that occurred last night. Sharks and Jets. And looking at it in like around the 12-minute mark of the third period, Erik Karlsson does fall on his hand.
Yeah.
They say it's a broken finger or broken thumb.
Broken thumb.
Yeah, and so if it needs surgery and he's out for the season, that thumb must be really, really bad.
So here's the thing, right? So, and I'm gonna catch hell on this, and I'm sure I'm gonna start fighting the chat in a minute here. So, get your gloves on, kids.
That's right. Get your
gloves on.
Get your fingers ready.
So here's the problem, right?
Too soon.
I know a lot of people have messaged me and like, oh my God, he's so soft. But here's the reality of the situation. You've invested $11.5 million into this guy for a bunch of time. This season's over. It doesn't make, like, if they were in contention, we probably don't know about this injury because the Sharks are awesome like that, and he plays through it. And, but I know he's soft. He just doesn't care, blah, blah, blah. No, man, you invested this much money into the guy. Shut him down for the season. The season is over. There's no reason to make him play through an injury. There's no reason to bring Kuhre back before he's 100%. Right. Shut down Hurdle, whatever. These are the things you do at this point because you're not playing for anything. Period. Like, and okay, so I know people are going to be like, oh, well, he's so injury prone. But like a hand injury, dude, like if it was his groin, again, yes. If it's his ankle, yeah. Let's talk about injury, let's talk about injury prone. This is a hand, right? It doesn't matter how jacked you are. Your hand is still your hand. And these little digits, they break easy. I don't care how jacked you are. I don't care if you're, benching 400 pounds a day and, this is a hand. It break, like these little fingers, they break. Unfortunately, when you bend them at an awful angle, they break because that's what bones do, especially when they're not really, there's no muscle there.
Dr. Ian Reid on laying the law down on hand injuries.
Well, I mean, it's like I'm not going to get on a guy who breaks a finger because it's like fingers break.
Yeah.
They're easy to break. I don't care how jacked you are. It's not like, look, and injuries in a contact sport happen, period. But I don't know. I think that there's going to be a lot of bullshit narrative that you're going to see over the next little bit. And I think a lot of it is just that. It's narrative. I think that, if like, I'm not here to change your opinion, right? If you think that Erik Karlsson's as soft as baby crap, then good on you. That's fine. I'm not here to bend you to my will. But if you're one of these people that is going to talk about, oh, this dude's so selfish because he played through injuries and now he's just going to bail. If you're a guy who says, man, Erik Karlsson, he played through a groin injury, what a selfish prick. But Joe Thornton's such a warrior because he played with no knee. Like, just think about that for a minute. Think
Right.
about that objectively. That's it.
Right, and see and that's the thing. It's like if you give Jumbo such the warrior status, you give kudos to Karlsson for doing what he did up until he became a pylon later in the Blues series last year.
Sure, I like. Don't get me wrong, but I just think like a lot of guys play through injuries. The measure of warrior versus I'm a selfish prick. Like if that changes based on your feeling on that specific player, then maybe you probably need to think about objectivity. That's all I'm saying. You know what? I've made my case. That's it.
All right. All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to the next set of news because it's been a heck of a good news day here on Teal or here in San Jose. AJ chiming in with Sorensen's been playing with no hands all season. But
there you go. But
yes, there we go. And of course, AJ's also saying objectivity on social media. Surely you jest. Yes.
Fair enough.
But the other news at hand that dropped like a little bit before the game started today, and that's Evander Kane gets suspended 3 games for using his elbow to the head of Pionk from Winnipeg last night. First off, I'll ask you, what did you think? And what did you say last night? You were thinking that he might have gotten a game for this.
Yeah, I thought that. So here's the thing. I think that Evander Kane has made really 3 games in a row. He's made really questionable hits with his elbows, and the first 2 got nothing. And I feel like this is the one where they're like, okay, fine. Like, we're going to deal with this now. Like, you kind of given us no choice. Now, did I expect 3 games? No. I understand 3 games because repeat offender, blah, 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 blah. I get that. I still think, you could split hairs and I say it should be 2, but whatever. Did he earn the suspension? He most certainly did. Absolutely. That's a garbage hit. No place in the game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is true. But what is also true is that the Department of Player Safety is a clown car.
Yeah.
An absolute clown car. Like, both of these things can be true. I think Evander Kane absolutely earned a suspension, but the statement he made after, I also agree with that. So I think that there has been, like, obviously, people are going to bring up the Chara thing. And I don't think that because you don't suspend the Chara penalty, you can't just they should have suspended that. I'm not defending that, but you can't, if you do care about player safety, and I feel like I care about player safety and I do try to be objective about these things. You can't, I understand that they screwed up the Chara thing, but you can't just let this become Thunderdome because, well, we screwed up a thing and now we can't suspend anybody. Like,
right. Well,
so I understand the frustration of Sharks fans. I understand the frustration of Evander Kane.
Big time.
But at the same time, did he deserve that suspension? 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and he went to social media about an hour before the game and made this statement on his Twitter. The fact that the NHL Department of Player Safety, headed by George Parros, continue to pick and choose who and what they suspend is ridiculous. There have been countless incidents of the same nature through this season and past seasons that have gone unsuspended or fined. No one person can tell you what is or isn't a suspension in today's game. It's become a complete guess. There is a major lack of consistency with the NHL Department of Player Safety. A completely flawed system in so many ways. From suspensions to appeal rights, it's baffling to me how we as players agreed to this. You can't continue to give some players a pass and throw the book at others. He would continue saying there has to be an outside third party making these decisions to remove the bias that transpires in the department headed by George Parros. None of it makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with any of that. I think Department of Player Safety in the league is a joke. But the problem is that everyone's like, oh, well, how are they going to fix it? Like, it's good. I'm glad Evander Kane is like standing up for himself here. But the reality is, and we were discussing this on Twitter earlier, is like, I don't really think anything's going to change because this, if look at there is a number of players who will the NHL the player safety will hammer the crap out of, but it's not a big enough group of players that someone's going to go, they're negotiating a new CBA and they're going to go, whoa, 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 we have to fix this too. Like this is going to get, they will sign off on. They might make some subtle changes, but the players are going to sign off on it because why? Because it's not a thing it's not a sexy issue like how much money am I going to stuff in my drawers?
Right.
That's
And,
just the reality of it.
right. And one thing before the statement is that he also finds gifs or
Hmm.
video of similar cases, like the one that he put on his Twitter of Lawson Krause
Yeah,
elbowing
should have been a
Boston.
suspension.
Should have been a suspension there. Hell, Kane took that shot against Chara last season and had to go out and fight because of it. Speaking of the Bruins,
Yeah.
Chara gives a cross check
To
literally to the head
Gallagher
of
and
Gallagher.
then snaps his head back like yeah, it's dumb. Like again, I'm not saying that like again, I both things can be true. The NHL Department of Player Safety is a clown car and Evander Kane got what he deserved because honestly, he probably got away with a couple
Yeah.
before this one finally got called to the carpet. So, um it sucks. And if you're Evander Kane, I mean, it sucks. Like are you being targeted? Yep. Should you be smarter as a player because of that? Yep.
Well, the thing with the suspension or the Chara fine is that looks very similar to the cross check he delivered to Pierre Belmar. Um,
Yeah, I don't like the like it's not a good thing, right? And again, it's both things can be true. They screwed up that call for sure.
right.
Uh, and it looks bad because, not only is it sets a the optics are bad because Boston's owner is probably the most powerful owner on the board of governors,
Yeah. And,
right? So
and it's amazing how that
so it
happens.
optically it looks bad optically from that perspective and just in general like I don't know how much I can only say the same thing over and over again different ways. It's their clown car. It's stupid. You
Yeah.
can't, Vander Kane is right. He's also justifiably suspended.
Now, here's a question I have for you. Because he's come out with this and he's tweeted actual gifs and
Oh, he's
pictures and
gonna get
such,
fined. He's gonna get fined, and it's gonna be worth every penny.
do you think he gets suspended more?
I don't think so. I don't think so because, well, it's a league issue at this point, right? Because
Right.
this will have nothing to do with player safety. So if the league, yeah, Gary Bettman could be like, well, who's this jackass think he is? I'm gonna do it. They probably slap him with a fine. Maybe they slap the Sharks with a fine too.
Which will be interesting to see if that takes place because, man,
He's definitely opened himself up, but obviously, like, look at the tweet is still there. The Sharks have made him take it down.
yeah.
Because there's a good chance that not only will Evander Kane get fined for this, but the Sharks as an organization will get fined too.
The next few days will be very interesting in the world of Sharks territory for sure. Uh, Suggesting who can take over. AJ was saying, actually, I want Wes McCauley to take over Department of Player Safety because the explanation videos would be stellar.
They need to, yeah. Like I would love if it was like a group of old officials. Although you could argue that ideally it would be an independent third party. But then someone brought up on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but they brought up like, oh, you mean the same third party that reduced the suspensions on Weidman and so it's like you
Yeah.
can't win, right? Um, I would ideally like it to be a third party that would dole out these suspensions and because again like you could do alt referees but then you run into the problem of the playoffs are Thunderdome and that's the way the refs like it so you really I would like to see a third party get involved and handle it but again this is collectively bargained And it's not going to be a sticky issue for either side. Like, it's one of those things where when you're collectively bargaining, there's certain issues that aren't going to get, really much attention, and they're going to sign off on them really quick. One of the biggest things other than player discipline would be like rookie money, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
entry level contracts are like the first thing that generally get done in a CBA because no one gives a damn. Most of the players that are voting on this crap, they've already gotten out of their entry level deals. They don't care about them. Like it's an easy, it's an easy thing to sign off on. I don't think there's going to be enough. Like Evander Kane's very angry and he's being very vocal, but I don't think there's enough overall anger with the system from the players that it's going to be an issue that they're going to be like, well, I don't feel like we're going to play a season over this.
Yeah. Don't
You
get
know what I
it.
mean? And that's just the reality of the
Yeah.
situation, unfortunately.
He is an angry Canadian robot, and we like him for that. So thank you very much, Ian Reid. Appreciate everybody in the chat having fun with this. But there's definitely something wrong with the Department of Player Safety, and I think it needs to be streamlined. I don't think you have, you know, a goon running it.
I
Like
don't
like
I don't like hockey people running it because you have people. It's like look at the guys that get hammered, right? I mean, yeah, they're players that we generally don't like and we think are ratty. Look at Evander Kane's a guy who gets attacked a lot. Before that, Raffi Torres, Matt Cook. I mean, guys that just get reputations, unfortunately, get hammered really hard. But then star players, oh well, he never intended to do that. You need to take out you just need to take out
the bias.
the bias, just the kind of almost incestuous nature of it, because you have basically the inmates running the asylum, whether they're retired inmates or not. They're still the inmates running the asylum, and I don't like it.
Exactly, because I mean, what we had: George Peros, Stefan Quintal, Chris Pronger, and then Brendan Shanahan, which I think give him kudos a little bit because he revolutionized the whole thing. But Brody mentioned something on the broadcast today. Is that okay? We get the suspension videos. That's great. Now put out the videos as to why so and so didn't get fined or why he wasn't suspended. That
I
would be
Would
would
that
be
really change anything though? Because like if I don't think it would change anything, because even if like you could do it, I think it would be just a giant waste of time because and here's the other thing with these things too, right? Like I try to approach this like I try to approach whenever we discuss these things, and especially when it's a Sharks player, I try to approach this as like kind of as objectively as possible.
mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, when it comes to objectivity in the Sharks, whenever Brody Bizzle starts talking, I stop listening. And I love Brody, but like, I mean, we've talked about this before, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
It's one of those things where
if
they need to
he
get some overall they
it's
need to
fine
get it
for us.
fixed.
Look, it's fine for us. Like we're wearing our Sharks gear in the background. It's fine for us. We're
Right.
fans. We're not paid to do this. We do this because it's a passion project. Sometimes they should just be all wearing all Sharks gear,
Yeah.
and it would look more appropriate. That's all I'm gonna say. And
Gotcha.
as I just fire bombs at everyone apparently.
Oh. And with that,
Have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
we'll go through these quickly as the Stadium Series is underway. Kings and Avalanche, apparently they look like the NHL on Fox robots taking on human Avalanche peoples. So we'll get to that. There's no score in the first period there. We have any of the scores that are finals: 4-1 Bruins over Red Wings. Pasternak, he gets his 42nd. Predators beat the Blues 4-3. In that one, Lightning win 5-3 over the Flyers. Edmonton, they won without Connor McDavid. Draisaitl gets his 33rd of the season in the victory over the Florida Panthers, who are the Sharks'
It's like
next
90
opponent.
points or something ridiculous.
It's crazy. Him, Pasternak, I mean, just on a crazy roll. So that's that. Your Barracuda.
Ooh, Barracuda!
They are going to be in Bakersfield tomorrow night, taking on the Condors, and then they're back here to finish the second half of Hockey Day in San Jose. That's a 6 p.m. start following the Sharks' 1:15 start for that one. So that's your wraparound for the evening there. So with that, I think it's time to get on the heck out of here. So Ian, as always, thank you very much for joining us, and I appreciate your expert analysis as to to one of the most boring games. But it was a shutout victory for the Sharks, 2-0 over the Wild.
When the Sharks do good, it's good.
Exactly. In life and hockey, it takes goals to win, and the Sharks won. So they get set to take on the Florida Panthers. Oh boy, Hoffman versus. Oh no, we don't even have that. We don't even have that, Ian. We don't even have Hoffman versus EK65 Part 2.
Nope.
Oh, man.
We like it.
That stinks like baby's diapers. All right. Well, with that, Ian, thank you very much. Your final thoughts and where the people can find you.
My final thoughts are the NHL has a crappy discipline system because that's what they've collectively bargained to get what they deserve. Other than that, Sharks do good, it's good, and let's keep it rolling. Trade deadline coming. Let's see some trades already. Like this could be a very boring trade deadline. I want to see some trades, damn it.
Yeah. He's at Ian Blogs Hockey on the Twitter machine.
Yes.
I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Yeah, let's get this thing going, and heck, let's throw a wrench into it, and here's hoping that the Sharks win all their games before the trade deadline, just to confuse the heck out of Sharks fans and Doug Wilson as to what he's supposed to do with his hockey team
in
the next 9 days.
There's no question. Nothing they do right now should change anything in the Sharks' plans. They sell. Anything that's not bolted down, out the door. Get your assets, get your picks, weaponize the cap space that you now have. Nothing changes. It doesn't matter. They can win all their games. It doesn't matter. They're going to have to run the table, and 3 other teams have to do the absolute opposite. Sell everything that's not bolted down, and maybe find some things that are bolted down and sell them too. That would help significantly.
Very true. All right, so we will be back with you. We might be doing something special Monday afternoon for After Dark, so be on the lookout for that. But in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. And of course, always available at tealtownusa.com. No, we are not trading Finn. We're not trading Finn. We're not trading Sharky.
SJ Sharky, though, if you look at every bad thing that's ever happened to this team, SJ Sharky was here for all of it.
Right?
Just saying.
I mean,
saying.
His Twitter and his Instagram were priceless after everything came out. I mean, that was great. We'll be back with you Monday afternoon following Sharks and Panthers. That's a 1 o'clock start at the Shark Tank on the holiday. That's where you'll find us then. The Chompersation continues now on Discord, and make sure you hit subscribe and like everything on our social media. So thanks for watching. We appreciate you as always. Almost to 2,000 subscribers. Tell everybody. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real, teal. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you Sunday.